The first time I realized my marriage was just paperwork, my wife said it out loud at a party. Beth stood there, wine glass tilted, laughing with her girlfriends, and declared, "Marriage is just paperwork, really. Just legal stuff." Everyone laughed. I didn't. I'm Ray Parrish, 39 years old, co-owner of Parrish Electric, a mid-sized electrical contracting business my father built from nothing in this Rust Belt city where everyone knows everyone's dirty laundry before it hits the hamper. I've got 2 daughters, Bea and Bree, 15 and 13 respectively. Smart kids, athletic, caught in the middle of something they didn't understand yet. But I understood. I understood perfectly. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. The thing about Betrayal is that it doesn't announce itself with trumpets and fanfare. It creeps in through text messages you're not supposed to see, through sudden girls' nights that multiply like rabbits, through a new car that appears in the driveway with explanations that don't quite add up. Beth had become a stranger who shared my bed, my home, my life, but not her truth. I run half of Parrish Electric. My brother John runs the other half. Golden Boy John, 42, smooth-talking, the kind of guy who could sell ice to Alaskans and make them thank him for it. Our mother Ruth, 65 and sharp as broken glass, holds the majority shares. She built this empire alongside Dad before he passed. John and I inherited the operation, but Mom still pulled the strings when it mattered. Carl Robertson, our operations manager, had been with us since the beginning. Loyal as they come. Mike, my best friend since high school, worked in sales. The company employed 43 people, and most of them had been there for years. Family business meant something in our town, at least it used to. "Ray, you coming to bed?" Beth called from upstairs. It was 11:30 on a Tuesday. She'd been on her phone for 2 hours, giggling like a teenager. "In a minute," I called back, staring at the burner phone I'd found in her purse that afternoon. She'd left it in her gym bag, which she'd asked me to grab from the car. Careless. Or maybe she wanted to be caught. Some people are like that. They create their own disasters because they're too cowardly to just end things cleanly. The phone had texts to someone saved as J. The area code was local. The messages were explicit, detailed. The kind of thing that makes your stomach turn when you realize your wife of 17 years is writing them to someone who isn't you. But here's the thing that really got me. Jay knew things about our family. Inside jokes, business details. This wasn't some random affair with a stranger from a dating app. This was someone close. I scrolled through the messages, my lawyer brain cataloging everything. Yes, I'd gone to law school before deciding the family business needed me more than another courtroom needed another attorney. That education was about to come in very handy. "Can't wait to see you tomorrow," one message read. "Ray's got that supplier meeting in Columbus. We'll have the whole afternoon." Tomorrow. That was today now. I'd canceled that Columbus meeting this morning, told Carl to handle it. I'd had a feeling, instinct. The same instinct that told me to check Beth's gym bag in the first place. I'd spent the day following her. I'm not proud of it, but I'm not ashamed either. She'd driven to a coffee shop downtown, then to a hotel. Not just any hotel, the Riverside Inn, the nicest place in town. She'd gone up to room 412. She'd stayed for 3 hours. I didn't confront her then. I'm not that guy. I'm the guy who plans, who thinks, who waits for exactly the right moment to strike. Instead, I'd gone back to the office and started making calls. Lawyers, accountants, private investigators. I wanted documentation, evidence, a paper trail that would bury her so deep she'd need a mining crew to dig out. "Ray?" Beth appeared at the bottom of the stairs, wearing one of my old t-shirts. She used to look cute in them. Now I just saw a stranger wearing my clothes. "You okay? You've been weird all day." "Just work stuff," I said, slipping the burner phone into my pocket. Big project coming up. You know how it is. She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. Yeah, I know. You want some tea or something? I'm good. You go ahead. I'll be up soon. She hesitated, studying me. For a second, I thought she might confess, might actually be honest for once. But the moment passed, and she turned and headed back upstairs. I sat there in the dark, thinking about paper cuts. How something so small, so seemingly insignificant could cause so much pain. How 1,000 paper cuts could bleed you dry, slowly, methodically, until you didn't even realize you were fading. Marriage is just paperwork. Fine. I could work with that. The Parrish Electric Anniversary Party was a company tradition. 25 years in business, a milestone worth celebrating. We'd rented out the Elks Lodge, invited clients, employees, friends, family. Beth had spent weeks planning it, playing the perfect corporate wife. She wore a blue dress that cost more than most people's monthly mortgage. She smiled. She laughed. She played her part beautifully. I played mine too. Ray, congratulations, man. Mike clapped me on the shoulder, beer in hand. 25 years. Your old man would be proud. Thanks, Mike. Couldn't have done it without good people. I meant it. Mike was solid, honest, everything I valued. Beth looks great tonight, Mike's wife Sarah added. That dress is stunning. She does clean up nice, I agreed, watching Beth across the room. She was talking to John. They stood close, too close. Her hand touched his arm. He leaned in, whispered something. She laughed, tilted her head back, exposed her throat. I'd seen that gesture before. Intimacy disguised as casual conversation. Excuse me a second, I said, pulling out my phone. I'd set up a recording app, voice activated, hidden in Beth's purse. Technology is wonderful when you know how to use it. I stepped outside, pulled up the app, and listened. The audio was crystal clear. Can't keep doing this, John's voice. Ray's not stupid. Ray's oblivious, Beth replied. He's so wrapped up in work he doesn't notice anything. Besides, what's he going to do? I'm the mother of his children. He won't risk losing them. Still, we should be more careful. Or we could just tell him, get it over with. I'm tired of pretending. Your call. But think about the business. Mom will lose her mind. Your mom loves you more than Ray anyway. She'll side with you. I stopped the recording. Saved it. Backed it up to 3 different cloud services. Then I went back inside. Smiled, shook hands, played the proud business owner celebrating a milestone. But inside, I was calculating. Planning. Preparing. After the speeches, after the cake, after the champagne toasts, I pulled Carl aside. I need you to do something for me, I said quietly. It's sensitive. Carl, 53, built like a fire hydrant, nodded. Name it. I need you to audit John's expense accounts. Every receipt, every transaction going back 2 years. Quietly. Carl's eyes narrowed. You think he's skimming? I think he's doing something he shouldn't be. I need proof. You got it, boss. I also called my sister Connie that night, after Beth had gone to bed. Connie lived 2 states away, worked as a forensic accountant. She'd left town after college and never looked back, but we stayed close. Ray, it's late. What's wrong? I told her everything. The affair, the suspicions about John, the need for absolute discretion. Jesus, Ray. I'm sorry. What do you need? Help. The legal kind, the financial kind, the kind that leaves no room for error. You'll have it. I'll catch the first flight tomorrow. Thanks, Connie. That's what family's for. Real family, anyway. I filed for divorce on a Thursday. Didn't tell Beth. Didn't give her a heads up. Just had the papers drawn up, signed, and submitted to the court. My attorney, Patricia Miller, was thorough. We documented everything. The affair, the financial irregularities we'd started to uncover, the manipulation of our daughters. The papers were served to Beth at the PTA meeting on Tuesday evening. I wasn't there, but Sarah called me immediately after. Ray, oh my God, what did you do? What needed to be done? Everyone's talking. Beth ran out crying. Jennifer Thompson followed her. It's chaos. Good. Good? Ray, people are going to take sides. Let them. I've got nothing to hide. That was true. I'd spent 2 weeks making sure every single detail of my life was squeaky clean. Taxes, perfect. Business records, impeccable. Personal conduct, beyond reproach. I'd even gotten ahead on child support payments, set up trust funds for the girls, documented every interaction with Beth for the past month. When you're going to war, you don't leave ammunition lying around for the enemy. Beth came home that night, mascara streaked, furious. How could you? How could you humiliate me like that? Humiliate you? That's rich. In front of everyone, you served me divorce papers at a PTA meeting. Marriage is just paperwork, right? I figured you'd appreciate the efficiency. Public filing, public service, very democratic. This isn't funny, Ray. You're right, it's not. None of this is funny. What's funny is you thinking I wouldn't find out. What's funny is you and my brother thinking you were clever. What's funny is you standing here, acting like the victim. Her face went white. I don't know what you're talking about. Room 412, Riverside Inn, every Tuesday and Thursday for the past 6 months. You want me to keep going? Because I've got dates, times, photographs, text messages, financial records showing John paying for the room on the company credit card. Should I continue? She sat down hard on the couch. Ray, save it. I don't want explanations. I don't want apologies. I want you out of my house by the end of the week. The girls stay with me. You can see them on weekends, supervised, until we get a custody agreement finalized. You can't do that. Actually, I can. I've already filed for emergency custody based on your affair and the unstable environment you've created. Judge Morrison is reviewing it tomorrow. Given that you've been lying to our children, manipulating them, and conducting an affair with their uncle, yeah, I think I've got a pretty solid case. Beth's hands shook. This is crazy. You're crazy. No, I'm done. There's a difference. She tried tears, then anger, then bargaining. I'd expected all of it. I'd prepared for all of it. When she finally left, slamming the door hard enough to rattle the windows, I sat down and allowed myself one moment of weakness. Then I got back to work. John didn't know about the divorce for 3 days. He'd been in Pittsburgh on a job, and Beth apparently hadn't told him. When he walked into the office Monday morning, Carl and I were waiting in the conference room. Morning, John said cheerfully. How was your weekend? Productive, I replied. Sit down. We need to talk. He sat, glancing between us. What's going on? You're suspended, effective immediately. Pending investigation into financial irregularities and misuse of company funds. John's face went through several expressions: confusion, disbelief, anger. What the hell are you talking about? Carl slid a folder across the table. Expense reports, credit card statements, hotel charges, restaurants, gifts, all charged to the company, none of them business-related. $43,000 over 6 months. That's not, I can explain. Don't bother, I interrupted. I've already reported it to the board. Mom's reviewing everything this afternoon. You'll have a chance to present your side, but until then, you're out. Security will escort you from the building. Your access codes are deactivated. Your company credit cards are canceled. Ray, come on, we're brothers. Exactly, we were brothers. Past tense. You slept with my wife. You stole from our company. You lied to our mother. You manipulated my daughters. So no, John, we're not brothers anymore. We're just 2 guys who happen to share DNA and a business, and pretty soon, we won't even share that. His face hardened. You can't do this. Watch me. Security, 2 guys I'd hired specifically for this purpose, appeared at the door. John looked at them, then at me, then stood slowly. This isn't over, Ray. Yes, it is. You just don't know it yet. After he left, Carl let out a long breath. That was intense. It's going to get worse before it gets better. I was right. The next 2 weeks were a social disaster. Our town thrived on gossip, and this was premium-grade scandal. The affair, the embezzlement, the divorce, the family drama. Everyone had an opinion, and most of them weren't shy about sharing it. Beth's friends initially rallied around her, but that changed when the details came out. When people learned she'd been sleeping with her husband's brother, using company money to fund their affair, lying to her children, the tide turned fast. Jennifer Thompson, who'd been Beth's closest friend, called me one evening. "Ray, I'm so sorry. We had no idea. If we'd known—" "It's fine, Jennifer. Not your fault." "It's not fine. Beth lied to all of us. She told us you were controlling, that you ignored her, that you were having an affair. We believed her. She's good at lying. I lived with her for 17 years and didn't catch on until recently. Still, I'm sorry. If you need anything, let me know. Sarah and I are here for you." That meant something. In a small town, having people on your side mattered. John wasn't so lucky. His reputation, carefully cultivated over decades, crumbled in days. Clients started pulling contracts. The Chamber of Commerce quietly asked him to step down from his position. His girlfriend, yes, he'd had a girlfriend this whole time, left him after the news broke. Mom called me into her office 3 weeks after I'd filed for divorce. She looked older, tired. This whole situation had aged her. "Ray, sit down." I sat. "I've reviewed everything, the financial records, the affair, all of it. I'm disappointed doesn't begin to cover it." "I know, Mom. I'm sorry you had to deal with this." "Don't apologize. You did nothing wrong. John, on the other hand," she sighed heavily, "I'm removing him from operational duties. He'll retain his shares, but he won't have decision-making authority. You'll be CEO, effective immediately. Carl will be COO. I'm bringing Connie back to handle finances." "Mom, you don't have to—" "Yes, I do. This company is my legacy, your father's legacy. I won't let John destroy it because he couldn't keep it in his pants. You've proven yourself trustworthy. You've handled this situation with more grace than I would have. The company is yours now, Ray. Don't screw it up." "I won't." She stood, came around the desk, and hugged me. Ruth Parrish wasn't a hugger. "I'm proud of you, son. Your father would be too." That almost broke me. Almost. John didn't take the demotion well. He showed up at my house one night, drunk, belligerent. I'd expected it. I'd installed security cameras 2 weeks earlier. "You destroyed my life," he shouted from the driveway. "You took everything from me." I stepped onto the porch, phone in hand, recording. "I didn't take anything, John. You gave it away. You made your choices. She came on to me. Beth started it. And you, what, accidentally fell into bed with her? Multiple times? For 6 months? Come on, John. Take some responsibility. You always thought you were better than me. Perfect Ray. Dad's favorite. Mom's golden boy. Well, guess what? You're not perfect. You're cold. You're calculating. You're a machine. Better a machine than a thief and a liar." He started toward the porch. I didn't move. I wouldn't if I were you. Those cameras are recording everything. You take one step onto my property, I'm calling the cops. You'll spend the night in jail, and tomorrow everyone will see the footage of you drunk, threatening me, proving everything I've said about you. He stopped, swaying. "This isn't over." "Yes, it is. You're just too drunk to realize it. Go home, John. Sleep it off. Tomorrow, start figuring out what you're going to do with the rest of your life, because it's not going to involve this company or this family." He stood there for another minute, then stumbled back to his car. I watched him drive away, slowly, thankfully, and then went inside and sent the footage to my attorney. Documentation. Always documentation. The custody hearing was scheduled for 6 weeks after I'd filed. Beth fought it, of course. She hired an expensive attorney from the city, tried to paint me as controlling and manipulative. She claimed I'd turned the girls against her. The judge wasn't buying it. Patricia presented our evidence methodically. The affair, the lies, the manipulation. Beth's own words, recorded, admitting she'd been lying to the children about me. Text messages showing her coaching them on what to say to the custody evaluator. "Mrs. Parrish," Judge Morrison said, "you've demonstrated a pattern of deception and manipulation that this court finds deeply concerning. Your affair with your husband's brother shows poor judgment. Your misuse of marital and company funds shows financial irresponsibility. Your attempts to manipulate your children show a willingness to prioritize your own interests over their well-being." Beth's attorney tried to object, but the judge held up a hand. "I'm granting Mr. Parrish primary custody. You'll have supervised visitation every other weekend until you complete a parenting course and counseling. Furthermore, I'm ordering you to repay your portion of the misappropriated funds. This court does not look kindly on parents who steal from their children's future." Beth burst into tears. Her attorney looked defeated. I felt nothing, just tired. Outside the courthouse, Bea and Bree were waiting with Connie. They'd been staying with her during the hearing. "How'd it go, Dad?" Bea asked. "You're staying with me, officially." Bree hugged me. "Good. Mom's been acting crazy. She's going through a hard time. Try to be patient with her." "Why?" Bea asked. "She wasn't patient with you. She lied to us, Dad. She told us you were the problem, that you were mean to her, that you didn't love us as much as work. But it was all lies." "I know, sweetheart, but she's still your mom. You don't have to like what she did, but try not to hate her. Hate's a heavy thing to carry around." Wise words. I almost believed them myself. 3 months after filing for divorce, I got a call from an unknown number. Against my better judgment, I answered. "Ray Parrish?" "Speaking." "This is Detective Sarah Williams with the Financial Crimes Unit. We'd like to talk to you about your brother, John Parrish, and possible fraud charges." That was unexpected. Fraud? "We've been investigating irregularities at several local businesses. Your brother's name came up multiple times. We understand you've been conducting your own internal investigation?" "We have. I'd be happy to share our findings." "We'd appreciate that. Can you come down to the station tomorrow?" "Absolutely." It turned out John hadn't just been stealing from Parrish Electric. He'd been running a side scheme, overcharging clients and pocketing the difference, falsifying invoices, creating fake vendors. The scope was staggering, over $200,000 across 3 years. I gave the detective everything we'd found. Carl had been thorough, and Connie had traced every dollar. The evidence was overwhelming. "Mr. Parrish, I have to ask, why didn't you report this sooner?" "I wanted to be sure. I didn't want to accuse my brother of a crime without absolute proof. Family's complicated." "Not that complicated, apparently." "No, I guess not." John was arrested 2 weeks later. The news spread through town like wildfire. Beth, who'd been living in a small apartment across town, apparently had a breakdown. Her parents came and took her back to their place in Indiana. The girls took it hard. Bree especially. She'd always been close to John. "Why did Uncle John do all this, Dad?" she asked one night over dinner. "I don't know, honey. Sometimes people make bad choices. Sometimes they get so caught up in wanting things they can't afford that they lose sight of what's right." "Do you think he's sorry?" "I think he's sorry he got caught. I don't know if he's sorry for what he did." "That's sad." "Yeah, it is." The divorce was finalized 4 months after I'd filed. Beth didn't contest it. She signed everything, took her settlement, significantly reduced due to the affair and financial misconduct, and left town. The girls would see her during holidays, supervised by her parents. John pleaded guilty to fraud and embezzlement. He got 3 years, suspended sentence, 5 years probation, and full restitution. He'd have to pay back every penny he'd stolen, plus penalties and interest. He'd also lost his shares in Parrish Electric. Mom had forced him to sell them back to the company at a steep discount as part of a settlement to avoid civil litigation. I bought those shares. I now owned 70% of Parrish Electric. Mom kept 30%, with provisions for it to go to B and Bry when she passed. The business stabilized. We lost a few clients during the scandal, but we gained more. Apparently, people respected how I'd handled the situation, firmly, legally, without resorting to violence or public spectacle beyond what was necessary. Carl thrived as COO. Connie moved back to town and took over as CFO. Mike got promoted to sales director. We hired 10 new people. Revenue was up 20% year over year. Life moved on. A year after filing for divorce, I was at the office late, reviewing contracts, when my phone rang. Unknown number again. Ray Parrish. Ray, it's John. I almost hung up. Almost. What do you want? To apologize. I know it's too late, and I know you probably don't care, but I need to say it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for the affair, for stealing, for lying, for everything. I destroyed our family, and I destroyed my own life, and it's all my fault. I said nothing. I'm in therapy. Court ordered, but I'm actually trying. My therapist says I need to make amends, take responsibility, so that's what I'm doing. I don't expect forgiveness. I just wanted you to know that I know what I did was wrong. Okay. That's it? Just okay? What do you want me to say, John? That I forgive you? I don't. That we can be brothers again? We can't. You made choices. You hurt people. You destroyed trust that can't be rebuilt. I'm glad you're in therapy. I'm glad you're taking responsibility. But that doesn't change anything between us. I understand. Good. Don't call me again. I hung up. Connie, who'd been working late in her office, appeared in my doorway. That was cold. That was honest. He sounded sincere. Maybe he was. Doesn't matter. Some things can't be fixed with apologies. You're a hard man, Ray Parrish. No, I'm just done being soft. She studied me for a long moment, then nodded. Fair enough. You want to grab dinner? My treat. Sure. Let me finish this contract. Take your time. I'll be in my office. After she left, I sat there in the quiet, thinking about paper cuts again. How they heal, slowly, leaving tiny scars you can barely see. How enough of them can change you, harden you, turn you into someone you barely recognize. But maybe that wasn't a bad thing. Maybe that was just survival. 2 years after the divorce, Beth reached out. She wanted to see the girls more, without supervision. She'd completed her counseling, gotten a job, was living a stable life in Indiana. I agreed, cautiously. The girls were older now, 17 and 15. They could make their own decisions about their relationship with their mother. The first unsupervised visit went well. So did the second. By the third, Beth and I could have civil conversations about schedules and school events. You look good, she said one day when dropping the girls off. Happy? I am. I'm glad. I really am. I know I don't have the right to say this, but I'm proud of how you handled everything. You could have destroyed me completely, but you didn't. I didn't need to destroy you, Beth. You did that yourself. I just made sure you couldn't take me down with you. Still, thank you. For letting me see the girls. For not turning them against me. They're smart kids. They figured things out on their own. I just answered their questions honestly. She nodded, got back in her car, and drove away. Bea came and stood beside me on the porch. You okay, Dad? Yeah, I'm okay. You? I'm good. Mom's trying, I can see that. But it's weird, you know? Like she's a different person. Maybe she is. People change, sometimes for the better. Do you think you've changed? I thought about that. Yeah, I think I have. Good change or bad change? Honest change, which is the only kind that matters. She hugged me. I love you, Dad. Love you too, kiddo. 5 years after filing for divorce, Parrish Electric was thriving. We'd expanded into 3 new cities, doubled our workforce, tripled our revenue. I'd been named Businessman of the Year by the Chamber of Commerce. The girls were in college, Bea at State, Bree at Tech, both on scholarships, both doing well. I'd started dating again. Nothing serious, just casual dinners and movies. I wasn't ready for serious. Maybe I never would be. John had finished his probation, moved to another state, started over. We hadn't spoken since that phone call years ago. Mom occasionally mentioned him. He was doing okay, working construction, living quietly. I didn't ask for details. Beth had remarried. Some guy she'd met at church. The girls liked him, said he was nice, stable, boring in a good way. I was happy for her. Genuinely. Her happiness didn't affect mine anymore. One evening, I was at the office after hours, looking over architectural plans for our new headquarters. Carl knocked on my door. Got a minute, boss? Always. What's up? Just wanted to say thanks for everything, for trusting me, for promoting me, for building something real here. This company, this job, it's meant everything to me and my family. You earned it, Carl. Every bit. Still, not every boss would have handled things the way you did. You could have blown everything up, taken everyone down with you. Instead, you built something better. That was the goal. Well, you succeeded. Just wanted you to know that. After he left, I stood at the window, looking out over the city. Lights twinkled in the darkness. Somewhere out there, people were living their lives, loving, lying, laughing, crying, making choices that would ripple out in ways they couldn't predict. I'd made my choices. Some of them had been hard, some of them had been ruthless, but all of them had been mine. Marriage is just paperwork, Beth had said all those years ago. She'd been wrong. Marriage was trust, partnership, commitment. But when those things faded, when they were poisoned by lies and betrayal, then yes, it became just paperwork. And I'd learned how to use paperwork as a weapon. I'd learned that revenge didn't have to be violent or dramatic. It could be methodical, legal, precise. Passing by 1,000 paper cuts, each one documented, filed, stored away as evidence. I'd learned that sometimes the best revenge was simply refusing to be destroyed, was building something better from the ashes, was thriving while those who'd wronged you struggled with the consequences of their choices. I'd learned that family isn't always about genetics. Sometimes it was Carl, working late to help meet a timeline. Sometimes it was Connie, moving across the country to help save the business. Sometimes it was Mike and Sarah, standing by you when the gossip was at its worst. And I'd learned that I was stronger than I'd thought, harder, more resilient. The paper cuts had healed, leaving scars, but scars were just proof that you'd survived. I turned back to my desk, back to the architectural plans. We were building something here, something solid, something real, something that would last. 10 years after the divorce, I attended Bee's wedding. She'd met a good guy, an engineer, smart and kind. The ceremony was beautiful. Beth was there with her husband. John wasn't invited. During the reception, Bee pulled me aside. Dad, I need to tell you something. What's wrong? Nothing's wrong. I wanted to thank you. For everything. For being honest with us, even when the truth was hard. For not bad-mouthing Mom, even though you could have. For showing Bree and me what it means to have integrity. Honey, you don't need to thank me for being your father. Yes, I do. Because you could have been bitter. You could have been angry. You could have made everything about revenge, but you didn't. You just moved forward. You built a good life. You showed us that when bad things happen, you deal with them and keep going. That's all any of us can do. I know, but not everyone does it as well as you did. I'm proud to be your daughter, Dad. I wanted you to know that. I hugged her, this beautiful young woman who'd somehow grown up when I wasn't looking. I'm proud of you, too. So proud. Later, during the father-daughter dance, she whispered, Do you ever regret how things turned out? No. Do you? No. I think everything happened the way it needed to. It was awful at the time, but it made us all stronger. Mom's happy now. You're happy. Bree and I are okay. Maybe that's the best revenge, everyone moving on and being okay. maybe it is. The song ended. I kissed her forehead and handed her off to her new husband. Watched them dance, young and hopeful and full of dreams. And I thought about paper cuts one last time. They'd healed. The scars were barely visible now. And I'd learned something valuable from them. Pain is temporary. Scars are proof you survived. And survival, done right, is the best revenge of all. 15 years after filing for divorce, I stood in the new Parrish Electric headquarters, surrounded by family and friends and colleagues. We were celebrating our 50th anniversary as a company. Mom was 80 now, still sharp, still fierce. Connie was CFO and part owner. Carl was retiring, passing COO duties to Mike. Bea and Bree were both there with their families. Bea had 2 kids now. Bree was pregnant with her first. They were successful, happy, well-adjusted, despite everything they'd been through. I gave a speech, thanking everyone who'd helped build this company. I talked about my father's vision, my mother's strength, the loyalty of our employees. I talked about surviving hard times and coming out stronger. I didn't mention John or Beth. They were footnotes in the story now, not main characters. After the speeches, after the cake, after the champagne, I found myself alone on the balcony, looking out over the city that had been my home for 54 years. "Ray?" It was Mom, wrapped in a shawl despite the warm evening. "You okay?" "Yeah, Mom, I'm good." "You did well. Your father would be so proud." "I hope so." "I know so. You took something broken and made it whole. That's not easy." "No, it's not." She patted my arm. "I'm proud of you too, you know. Not just for the business, for everything, for how you handled the divorce, the scandal, all of it. You could have become bitter. Instead, you became better. I had good teachers. Maybe. But you did the work. That was all you." She went back inside, leaving me alone with my thoughts. The city sparkled below. Somewhere out there, John was living his life. Beth was living hers. They'd both moved on, built new lives, found whatever peace they could. And I'd done the same. Marriage is just paperwork, Beth had said all those years ago. She'd been wrong. But in being wrong, she'd taught me something valuable. When trust fades, when love fades, when partnership fades, you're left with paperwork. And paperwork, handled correctly, can be more powerful than any weapon. I'd used that paperwork to protect myself, my daughters, my business. I'd used it to ensure that those who'd betrayed me faced consequences. I'd used it to build something better. And in the end, that was the real revenge. Not destruction, but construction. Not tearing down, but building up. Not becoming bitter, but becoming better. The paper cuts had healed long ago. The scars were invisible now. And I was standing on a balcony, overlooking a city, celebrating 50 years of family business, surrounded by people who loved and respected me. That was victory. That was justice. That was revenge, served cold and calculated and perfectly legal. I smiled, finished my champagne, and went back inside to celebrate with my family. The real family. The ones who'd earned the title. And somewhere in the back of my mind, I heard Beth's voice one last time. Marriage is just paperwork. Yes, I thought, and I'd filed mine perfectly.